Welcome to the Zandbergen Report, where wealth strategies and investment wisdom collide, featuring your distinguished host and certified financial planner, Bart Zandbergen.
Welcome to the Zandbergen Report, a showcase for wealth strategies and investment wisdom that's essential for our evolving world. I am your recovering cold person here, so everyone just be safe. So I always say that because I know my voice sounds different. Paul, and as you know, and the listeners, the show is primarily a financial-based show, but at times we like to incorporate and mix in lifestyle and fun things along with business. And so I'm very, very happy to have our guests today, Will and Courtney Alovis. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
Great to have you. So you guys have a shop that is an icon that everyone in Orange County knows except for Paul.
Except for me. What was I doing here? Where have I been?
And it's Sugar and Spice. Now, tell me how you got involved with that.
Well, my mom is the third owner, and about 5 years ago, she was diagnosed with dementia. So we left our careers in L.A. Will's a script supervisor. I was a makeup artist in TV. And we moved down to run the shop and keep it going for her.
Wow.
So we took over. It was fun.
So you were living in L.A. and so moved everything down?
Moved everything within a month.
Yeah.
It was a quick decision.
Wow. Pretty radical change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I will say.
And what is it? Everybody's tweeting instantly. What is it?
Tell everybody.
I'm sorry.
We, having lived here, know exactly what it is, but there's others like Paul. Please tell everybody what Sugar and Spice is.
Sugar and Spice is the original frozen banana shop on Balboa Island since 1945.
Wow.
1945.
Wow.
Do you see the banana reference, Paul, now? Earlier
I get it. I get it.
Off mic. Tell us a little bit more about the shop. What you're serving and what's happening.
Sure. Well, we have, as Court was saying, we have frozen bananas, but we also have Balboa bars, which are ice cream bars. We do all sorts of ice creams and shakes and sundaes and all sorts of dessert things. What makes our place unique is that the bananas and the bars, we dip them in people's choice. They can choose between 4 different dips. We have a classic chocolate, a dark chocolate, we have a cherry or a peanut butter dip, and then we also have like 15 different toppings and drizzles that people can, we can put it on for them. And it's fun. It's like very customizable and it's a fun experience. We make them fresh right in the window when people order them. So it's like a fun thing. It's like definitely a great family type place.
Oh, yeah. Right
I
there on
have
the main
seen
strip.
this place. I just didn't know the name.
Okay.
I just knew it as it's like, is it right over by the Fun Zone? Or am I
No, on Balboa Island, not the peninsula.
As you cross over.
As you cross
Right over there on the main
okay.
street.
Well, what a cool idea. I love all this stuff. Why aren't I right there right now?
Right?
Or why they're not samples?
Yeah. Well, I was going to go there, but I didn't.
Okay. All right. So, honest answer, have you gained any weight? Well,
actually, no, just during the holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah, just during the holidays, we kind of let it go a bit from starting Halloween up until a couple of weeks ago.
So here's my little fun fact that I teased you guys with before.
Okay.
So my wife grew up on the island. Her name is Tina.
Awesome.
And not only apparently was she a frequenter, but she was once behind the bar.
She was?
Awesome.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
What year? Do you know what years?
She probably wouldn't. Many years ago. We're probably then the 30 years ago-ish.
Okay, so probably Betty. Yeah. That's amazing. I love that.
It's amazing how many people we meet who come to the shop who say, this was my first job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, we've met like at least 100 people since we've been
serious?
working. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, absolutely. And it's amazing. And what's also amazing is that it was their first job and that they still have really, really strongly great feelings about it.
Yeah.
And they want to come back and they want to bring their families and bring their kids and bring their grandkids. Yeah. So it's kind of unusual in that regard. That's awesome. We'd love to meet Tina.
Well, now we need to come by.
Yes.
So I think you downplayed it a bit, Courtney, but I know you both had incredible Hollywood careers. Will, you're a script supervisor for, not just little shows, but Empire, CSI Miami, New York, Law and Order. and Courtney, makeup artist for, you name some of the great celebrities. Some of my favorite: Jerry Seinfeld, Jason Alexander, Brooklyn Decker, Donny Osmond.
I was Donny Osmond's personal for 7 years.
Wow.
So it was really great when he did Pyramid game show, and then from there, 7 years out from that.
So tell us a little bit about that. That's exciting stuff. We don't hear that every day.
It was great. I started out in the 90s as a makeup artist, and my first job was at ABC on General Hospital and Mr. Belvedere.
Oh, yeah.
And snowballed into the last show being in 2013. I worked with New Girl and The Voice, kind of day played with that. And Donny.
And that's not like a 9 to 5. You don't just check in, check out, right? It could be any time,
Usually we're the first ones in, the last ones out.
Yeah.
And 16-hour days most of the time, 16, 17-hour days.
And you run out between takes and do the fresh
yes.
up. And
touch them up. Do it in the morning and then all day touching them up. And it's a lot of fun. It was fun.
Yeah. So I'm going to come back and ask you for a great. So think of a great story, like one of your great. And it'd be great to have the celebrity name, but if you can't, don't.
Okay.
All right. And then Will, tell us about your previous life.
Yeah. I started off like 30 years ago in entertainment, and I started off in New York doing everything from production design, and I worked my way up from being a production assistant up to doing all sorts of art department stuff. But then when I came to LA, I was a prop master for a bunch of years. And then for like the last 15 years of my career, I was a script supervisor on TV shows and movies. And it was a lot of fun. It was a really great, lifestyle. Every day was kind of a new adventure. And it was a lot of hours, but it was really gratifying, it's funny because it was a lot of hours, and like what we do now is also a lot of hours. I don't know that we work any less necessarily, but it's really nice for me because we used to be, Court was doing her makeup thing, I was doing like say my script supervisor thing, and we'd just be in different worlds, and then we'd meet up at home later on. But now so now instead of being apart working for 16 hours a day, we're together. So a lot of marriages, maybe that wouldn't be the best thing, but for us it really works. We have a lot of fun. It's like we kind of felt like we had a lot of lost time to make up for, and it's been a good time.
That's so great. Now, script supervisor, I assumed it was that's writing. Does that mean you wrote, or is that something different?
It's not a writing job. It's a set job, and you're sort of like the liaison. You're sort of like the presence of post-production on set, but the job has a lot of facets. One, you're in charge of like all continuity. Like even though every department is responsible for their own continuity, your eyes are on everything, and you're the last line of defense.
You have to explain what continuity is.
Oh, continuity is okay. So
outside of the world, I know what it is, but everybody's given that deer in the headlight look here.
Okay, thanks, Paul. So continuity is like here's the thing. If continuity is good in a film or a TV show, you don't even notice it. But what you do notice is if somebody messes up, and if somebody in the scene is wearing, say, a red hat, and then suddenly they cut away and they cut back and they're wearing a green hat. Stuff like, that's a really bold example, but it could be that. It could be just simply, they started off with the glass in their left hand. Now it's in their right hand. Right. The glasses are on. The glasses are off. The eyeglasses. All that stuff. Also, you're in charge of continuity for screen direction, so that we know when characters are talking to one another that one is looking one way, the other is looking the other way, so that the magic of editing, it appears they're actually having a conversation. So there's a lot of facets, and it's a very detail oriented job, and it's just a lot of work, but also fun.
You're like an air traffic controller.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Pretty much. And simultaneously, you're taking notes on every take. You're timing every take.
Yeah.
You're doing notes on every single thing that goes on constantly. And it's a pretty responsible.
It sounds super stressful.
It was.
It is very stressful. Yeah. But I really thrived at it. It was really, it wasn't something that people would have naturally thought I would have gravitated towards, but it really it felt like you were always juggling. You had a lot of balls in the air constantly, and you just had to know where everything was, at once.
Did you both meet on set?
We met through a friend of, I was doing makeup for a show, and
Yeah.
the woman that I was doing each week her makeup for
Yeah.
was married to his best friend at the time.
Okay.
And she set us up
All
with,
right. Well, we have some in common. I met my wife through her makeup artist also.
Really?
Oh, awesome.
How cool.
Yeah.
You're kidding.
No, actually, I'm not.
Wow.
That's,
We have got I know.
that's really funny.
We're going to talk over
Makeup
bananas.
brings people together here. Makeup helps them make up, right?
That's right.
It's great.
So the reason for taking over is certainly sad. So I'm sorry
Thank you.
to hear that. How was the transition emotionally, physically? I mean, stress level higher, lower, different?
Oh, it was insane. Insane high.
Really
'Cause-
intense.
Yeah, really intense. Because my mom, bless her, was
Well, that part,
an independent and
Yeah.
ran it, up until the day she couldn't run it.
Yeah.
And so it was hard for her she was still lucid enough to know, and she was losing control. So anyway, it was very stressful, but it eased up last year. We've kind of gotten to a group. We've got great people working for us, a great team, great managers.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of fun. We treat people the way we always wanted to be treated. So,
Yeah, we had, each of us had worked for so many
Yeah.
really, really dreadful people over the years
Yeah.
in different jobs.
not in the business, but in 9 to
Yeah.
retail.
Definitely not in that business.
Yeah.
but we, it's nice to have the opportunity to be the employers that we always wish we had.
Yeah.
So that was going to be my next thing. So quite a transition from working for someone, being an
Right.
employee, to now having employees.
Yeah.
Was that how? Other than maybe just pulling from, hey, I'm definitely not going to let that, or like, I'm not going to raise my kids like my parents.
Right.
One of those things. Was there any other training that you all had?
We did. We've done a lot of personal development courses, and I've always been, both of us have been very entrepreneurial. I can't
Yep.
say that word,
Good
but
one. You got it.
Richard Branson has been a big role model. Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
So just kind of pulling from all that different facets and implementing it in our business.
Yeah.
And structure.
Yeah, and also just really looking at looking at our whole group as a team.
Yeah.
Rather than
With
as
us
being
there,
the employers or the boss and the workers kind of thing. We're all on one team together.
Yeah.
And like any team, if everybody's not like performing really well and throwing in for the team, then it's just not going to succeed.
Yeah.
So that's
We're in there with them anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what would you say were some of your both some of your biggest challenges and then maybe your biggest victories in this transition to the new business?
I would say the biggest challenge would be learning how to manage different things that come up with the team members.
Yeah.
And learning how to communicate clearly and just keep it very running smoothly. that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, and
I
also
don't know.
to be able to let go a little bit.
Yes.
Not not to micromanage.
Yes.
That's a
everything.
classic. That's a classic entrepreneurial error.
Yes. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
When we
for sure.
started out,
I'm
we
still
were
working on it.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a work in progress, but we come a long way with it,
Yeah.
which is, we feel good about
Very
that.
freeing. Yeah.
I mean, you went from 0 to 100. If I'm understanding right,
Yeah,
you didn't
oh, yeah.
ramp your way into that business. You went
With
like,
a-
boom, we're taking over, and
Yeah.
that's it.
It was like 3 weeks, I think.
Yeah,
It
that's
was
pretty. That's
crazy.
pretty
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah, and for both of us, it was like literally the last thing that either one of us ever thought we would end up doing.
Like a month earlier, you were working. You're like, hey,
Yeah.
a month from now, we're going to be running a.
Right, but it-
banana shop?
we would have laughed at you,
Yeah.
But it's
yeah.
regardless of the circumstance, it's turned out to be this really beautiful thing. It's really, it's just
Yeah,
been.
and my mom luckily she was able to see the growth that we keep expanding and building,
Yeah.
and she was able to see it when she was still lucid, which was
Yeah.
nice.
Was it hard to let go of your careers? Those were really, I mean, those are cool careers
Yeah.
that you had.
The timing worked
was
out.
right.
It was
Yeah.
weird because we were both kind of trying to figure out our plan B to get out of the business, or what can
Yeah.
we do when it's
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it worked out really, really perfectly timing wise because, Court had been in that business 25 years. I was in that business 30 years.
Yeah.
And it was great, but you get to a point where, you want different challenges.
Yeah.
You just want, look, I've done it. We've both done it, and it was
Yeah.
great and fun,
Made
but,
great
what's
friends.
next?
Yeah. Frozen bananas.
Frozen bananas.
Exactly. Who knew?
Now, am I understanding right? You guys are back on set with like your truck?
Yes.
So what's that? What's
yeah,
that?
we have a mobile dipping truck, a Sprinter style van.
Is that new? Is that
That's new?
Yeah, we've had it for about 13, 14 months, and it's been really fun.
Yeah.
Because the thing we always loved about the industry was the people. And the work was great, but it was really the whole community is a really fun community, really connected to it still, and the idea of being able to go and visit places where we used to work,
See
or if
friends.
not specifically with those places. Exactly. We get to see our friends who we used to work with and see them wearing a different hat and also bring cum-bearing treats, which who doesn't love that?
Sugar.
Yeah. So it's been really, really neat.
A lot of fun. We went to the set of The Rookie and Blackish and Grownish and a couple other ones. It's been fun.
Yeah. And are you doing that here even locally as like In-N-Outs are all doing those food trucks? Is that part of your expansion?
We don't really do a lot of roundup type things, but we do we last year for the first time, 5 Points Amphitheater with Live Nation. We did a bunch of concerts there, and that was a really great experience. The people there are so nice,
so amazing,
and the community, the truck community. It's like a very different thing. It's like a very it's so specific.
And charity events we do a lot of charities. We do a lot of fundraising for schools.
Yes.
So it's been
schools, sugar in school. It's just something about that.
We load them up with sugar and say bye-bye. And they go into class. Round up.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you're having some special rollback. So what's that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this is exciting. On Friday, March 27th, to celebrate our 75th year, we're going to be having 75-cent frozen bananas at the shop.
And classic chocolate, peanuts, or rainbow sprinkles.
Like all the traditional,
old school.
all the old school stuff. So we're really psyched for that. It'll be a great opportunity to have people come back. We also have Don Cook, who is the son of the original owners of the shop,
Dot and Bob
Cook, who opened in 1945.
Yeah.
He's 85 years old now.
82, I think.
82? Okay.
Yeah.
He's 82 years old, and he lives in Laguna Beach, and he's going to come out for that day.
Yeah.
And he actually, the story goes, he actually invented the frozen banana.
On the island, his dad, mom and dad had a chocolate shop, Sugar and Spice, and his dad asked him when he was 12 years old to put the bananas in the refrigerator. He accidentally put it in the freezer. The next day, he was like, pulled it out, and his dad's like, I told you the refrigerator. And he was like, well, let's put in some fudge. And so he's the inventor of the frozen banana.
We got to get that person in here.
Yes, we do. Don Cook is amazing.
Wow.
He's an amazing
We love him.
guy.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
He's a lovely, fun guy, and he's going to come out.
there.
Him and the family are going to come out and enjoy the day.
Yeah.
It'll be neat.
Does he get like a nickel for every frozen banana across the world?
Residual here.
Exactly.
You probably missed that copyright.
Somebody tweeted in and wants to know, what did the island look like in 1945? Or even when did your mom take over? Or even when did...
My mom took over in 95, but Don was telling us,
Don was saying there was nothing there. There was nothing there.
A dirt hill or something, dirt.
Yeah,
right?
They literally bought the lot where the shop is and the home behind it.
Yeah.
They literally purchased it for $400.
Yes.
In 1945, and
what's
it was
the
kind of
building
amazing.
Story? The building.
They it was 1945, so the war was still it was just about to end, but there were no building materials, so they got like a prefab home that they had transported over there, and then the. I guess Bob Cook had the idea to take the garage and instead of putting it behind the house, put it on the street and make a shop.
And there it was.
And that's how.
Is that the first shop of the entire street?
I don't know.
There was a couple. The church was there.
Church.
And there were a couple of other things on the block.
Yeah.
But it was it was very sparsely populated.
Wow, that's a great story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really neat because when Don came down, he went for a walk with him all around the island, and he would just. Through his eyes, he would point out all these really cool things. This was this, that was that.
He grew up in the house behind the shop, so it was neat.
That's really cool. All right, Courtney.
Okay.
Give us a good story.
Good story.
Good
Okay.
celebrity story.
Okay, a quick one. The best one, well, my best experience, all of them were great on the
Yeah,
shows, but
yeah.
the best one was working with Donny for the 7 years. He and Brooks, his hairdresser at the time, the three of us we bonded, had a great time, lots of laughs. And it was my interview, my first time working with him. And it was when he had that accident in Hawaii with his neck. And he had
broken his neck.
So there was scar. He was healing still.
Right, yeah.
And it was like clear tape or clear bandage.
Yeah.
So I had to remove it, and I was so nervous because I was like, Donny Osmond. I was a
Donny
little rock
Osmond.
and roll when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I had the posters. So he was so nice, and I'm taking it off gently with scissors or tweezers or something.
Yeah.
And anyway, he goes, "Ow!" And I jumped so far back. I thought I had cut him, and he started laughing. And from that point on,
he was
we were
messing
just,
with you. Yeah.
He is the real deal. He's
Yeah.
a great, great, great human being. And
How
a lot
about
of fun.
Jerry and Jason?
Okay, so Jerry.
Don't burst my bubble.
No, they were really nice.
Okay,
I
good.
met them. I worked on Greg Kinnear's talk show later with Greg Kinnear.
Yeah.
And that's when I met both of them. They
Okay.
came on as guests, and they were super nice.
They're
and
all
friendly.
three funny as heck.
Oh, so funny.
Yeah.
So it was the great. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were really great.
All right, well, you got to have one or two.
Okay. Well,
Like meltdowns, any celebrity meltdowns or...
Well, I don't know about that, but I will say that when I worked on CSI Miami, and that was like the show I worked on the longest, I did 5 seasons on that.
Yeah.
It was a very interesting process there because the star of the show, David Caruso, was sort of like the 800-pound gorilla there.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
he would, and so like, you'd show up at set, and the writers had spent weeks and weeks honing a script, and then all the guest stars who were coming in to film, they'd be studying their script, and they'd show up on set ready to shoot and know every word, every nuance, this and that. And David Caruso would show up early in the morning and go into his trailer with the script and literally rewrite every scene he was in.
He was so
literally like almost no words remained. So it was always really kept you on your toes.
Yeah.
Because they come to set and you had no idea really what was going to happen.
He had creative rights to do that, or I don't know how that works in Hollywood.
He was the star of the show,
was number one on the call sheet.
Okay.
yeah, number one on the call sheet, and
Okay.
and he they wanted to keep him
Yeah.
happy and engaged.
Wow.
So it was, but it made it really, it really kept everybody on the toes. I felt bad for the guest actors because these are people who this was like their shot, and they came and they were ready. They were just ready for everything.
Yeah.
And then right before you're going to roll camera, you're like, oh, none of that's going to happen. And this is what it all is now.
So what I remember about him was he was a great actor on there, and I don't know about his reputation, but maybe it was a negotiating thing, and he didn't make it back. But then I never saw him again ever.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Did anyone know what happened?
No.
I think he's still out there. Yeah, he also was. He did art.
Yeah.
That was a thing
okay.
of his,
Yeah.
and.
He had a women's clothing store actually in between gigs. He was a big star. I forgot the show. What was the cop show?
NYPD Blue.
NYPD Blue, and then he either left or walked or whatever.
Or maybe
and
that was the show he walked away from.
He walked away from it, and he really was out of acting. And he, I remember reading he owned a women's clothing store, and then got this gig on CSI Miami. It was like back from the grave. Yeah.
Okay, so I got my timing off. So
Okay.
that was that he fell. Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Cool.
A lot of times I ask, what's your guilty pleasure? I don't think I have to ask you guys. That's probably something to do with sugar.
Could be, yeah.
Anything but bananas.
Anything. Strawberry shortcake.
But one of the things that I do have the honor of asking is your ultimate lesson learned.
Yes.
So in your time, and actually just in your career, so it could be any part of it or your transition, and maybe you have the same, maybe you have different, but what would you say is your ultimate lesson learned?
My ultimate lesson learned would be to keep unlearning what I've learned. So I'm always evolving, and what I thought would work sometimes doesn't work, and being flexible into, creating new ways of being or doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great one. How about you, Will? Anything different?
Like going from makeup to bananas. That's
Exactly.
There you go.
Right? Who knew?
Well, mine would be in line with that. It would be that it's never too late to start anew, and to really don't be afraid to make really big changes in your life, and really to create the life that you've dreamed of and that just because you're set in a certain way and you've been doing something for a long time, while you're alive, it's only too late when you're dead.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm thinking right now. How can people? Everybody knows you are, except for Paul. So let everybody know where you're at or how they can reach you. You guys have all social media presence and
yes,
everything.
Yes, we do.
So
Instagram and Facebook. It's Sugar and Spice NB. So like for Newport Beach, both on Instagram and Facebook, and then. Our website is www.sugar, the letter N is in Nancy, Spice, BalboaIsland.com.
We were going to go with like a long email address and a long website, but we decided to keep it succinct like that.
Yeah, perfect. And then lastly, what's next? Anything other than what we've talked about, your rollback and all the other stuff? Anything?
We have lots of plans and lots of building.
We have lots of fun stuff. I think we're going to go back to 5 Points Amphitheater this summer for more concerts. We've got a visit that we're not quite sure of the date yet, but stay tuned. Check out the website. We're going to have the Big Banana Car is going to be coming to the island, which is this crazy whimsical thing. It was built on like a truck body, and it's like this 25-foot. It's like that, but it's just this enormous banana. It's a thing of beauty, and we're going to have it come to the shop and give kids rides. And
who owns that? Where is this?
It's these guys they call themselves the Mutant Brothers from Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Well, I'm from Michigan. Anybody from Kalamazoo, Kazoo, that'd be a little mutant anyway here on the western side of the state there. So they're going to bring this giant banana-shaped car. Okay.
They sure are. This guy Steve Braithwaite is the fellow who built it, and he's literally driving it. It's on its way right now. He's
driving from Michigan.
Yes, right now I think he's in
banana.
I think he's in Marfa, Texas, or Austin, Texas right now. Working his way west and just stopping in like every town in between, and on his way to us. So
I think we got to get a picture of Bart in the car, because Bart's a real car guy.
We'll make it happen. We'll get you and Tina in there.
Yeah. All right. Be like, reminiscent for that's awesome.
That'll be your date night. You can go
Hey, honey, I got a surprise. Hey, Paul, I wanted to revisit. So last week I started for the new year, kind of closing with a quote, and I actually want to revisit the quote because I want to make sure it was interpreted properly. Do you remember first of all, do you remember the quote, Paul? You liked it.
I remember I liked it. I don't remember what
Discipline.
it was. Oh, yes, right.
To do things the ability to do things that others won't do, so that you can have that can't do so you can have what others won't have.
You don't have the discipline to tell it right the second time.
Yeah. But my point of that was I didn't want it to sound like it was just for like tangible things, like you're going to work real hard and get all this money and get this thing, which is all true. But I think there's other aspects of it, like from a health standpoint. Hey, the discipline to eat right and do a little exercise to have health that others may not have, or have date night with your wife so you have a good relationship, or spend time with your kids. So the things that others won't do.
But I was in the entertainment industry many years ago. As they were on a different field. I was an entertainment publicist, and the people I saw that succeeded in that field are the people that live by your model. They wanted it more than lots of talent just got you in the game. The people that made it to the top are those that wanted it and did what others wouldn't do. The extra hours, the extra networking, the extra effort, whatnot.
Yeah. All right. I want to thank you both so much. This has been really fun.
Hey, thank you so much.
Reminiscent. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, great. Look forward to being back in the studio next week. Cheers.
You caught me by surprise here. I'm doing the thing here. All right, here we go.
Tune in next week for the latest edition of the Zandbergen Report, Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Catch up on our recent shows by visiting bartzandbergen.podbean.com. The Zandbergen Report is also available on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Interested in being a featured guest on our show, or have a question you'd like to hear us answer? Email podcast@bartzandbergen.com. Bart A. Zandbergen, CFP, and Letitia Burbaum, AIF, are registered investment advisors with Optivest Inc. and registered representatives with Gramercy Securities Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Investment advisory services are offered by Optivest Inc. under SEC registration.